Let's get this over with. I have the rest of eternity to wander pointlessly.
Hello there. Since it's almost the 2-year anniversary of me being in the MCOC Balanced Design Team's top 5 biggest fears, let's celebrate by discussing one of Cosmic Ghost Rider's most broken rotations, one that seems to strangely fly under a lot of CGR players' radars. Yeah, we're talking about the Infinite Special 3 rotation, and you probably clicked on this video because I very boldly proclaimed it's better than Dr. Doom's Special 3 rotation. It is, and I'm gonna show you how. I'm contractually obligated to say this, so if you like the content on this channel, make sure to press the like and subscribe button. Thank you very much. So naturally, since this is a Slayer channel, we're going to be starting with a damage comparison. However, this will not simply be a damage comparison video. Dr. Doom and Cgr, both at rank 4, will be going up against Labyrinth Old Man Logan, a standard opponent with about 1.5 million health, and both will have synergies that further boost their potential. Some of you might not like that I'm using synergies here, but if I'm being entirely honest, Doom needed all of the help he could get against Cosmic Ghost Rider. When it comes to his rotations, Doom is very reliant on combat power rate and AI cooperation. The synergies will help his power meter, his damage output, and his sustainability with the Ouchie Masteries. I'm sure there are Doom rotations out there that I could have done that have him not launch Special 1 and take recoil damage, but the risk of the AI launching their Special was too great in my opinion, and I'm honestly just comparing the traditional rotations. It's why I chose the slower ramp-up rotation for Cosmic Ghost Rider, because it's the variation most often used. I know you're on the Cgr channel, but I really did my best to keep my biases in check with this video and keep purely to the facts, which I am. So as mentioned before, this is a bit more of a slow burn rotation for Cosmic Ghost Rider, and as well you can see Doom has an uncharacteristic lead on Cgr because, well, Old Man Logan wasn't really cooperating with throwing his special attacks, but you're going to see that lead that Dr. Doom has is rather short-lived. I mean, you can see Cgr's power bar right there going absolutely crazy because, well, Cgr can gain a special 3 and 5 hits with this rotation, and he only needs to hit the opponent 5 times to gain vigilance while they're not power locked to, just do that. So that's crazy. I mean, here, just watch Cgr for a sec here, okay, because this is about to end, but yeah, you just hit 5 times for vigilance, charge heavy, dex, and then throw your special 3. So 2 of those things, dexing and charging heavy, don't even require you to hit the opponent. And then vigilance requires you to hit the opponent, yeah, but you can do that while they're power locked too. So the power locking capabilities, the power control rather, is just absolutely crazy here. And we're gaining special 3 in 5 hits. That's nuts, guys. That's absolutely insane. Whereas Doom, fight's already over. Whereas Doom has to throw a special 1 to gain a special 2, and then he has to combo after to get to the special 3, and he has to struggle to get that special 3, right? With Cgr though, you don't get any of those problems. You just build up the rotation. It takes about as long as Doom's is to build up, if not maybe a little bit more if the AI doesn't cooperate and just let you combo into them. And then you get a special 3 and 5 hits, and all you need to do is dex, charge a heavy, and activate vigilance. And then just throw your special 3 and then activate power gain. You have 6 seconds to do that. So yeah, I'll leave the link to how to do this rotation, the guide in the description, and I might make a new guide as well. Yeah, you can see Cgr is a very clear lead on Dr. Doom here when it comes to damage and also health. I mean, just look at him taking no recoil damage, which is in of itself just absolutely crazy. And I mean, if we really wanted to and we wanted it to be a fair fight, you saw Doom rip a special 2 at the end there, right? I mean, we could have done that with Cgr, so here's a fight we did where we did just that. We ripped a special 2 off at the end just to save a bit of time, and it did save a pretty significant amount of time, I will say. So I mean, if we want to plug that in just for fairness sake, then he's got even larger of a leap ahead of Dr. Doom there when it comes to damage, which I guess isn't surprising. We're talking about Cgr here. And I mean, we didn't have to use the Ouchie Masteries here, but Doom needed all the help he could get, and yeah, I mean, we can Compare them here against a bigger opponent, and I'm sure you guys know how this is going to turn out if Doom could, if Doom lost half of his health against the 1.5 million Old Man Logan, then imagine how it's going to go here against a 3 million Star-Lord. And you're just going to see how sustainable this rotation is for CGR. We're speeding the fight up because nobody wants to watch special 3s over and over again at normal speed. Even if they're getting skipped constantly, nobody wants to watch the same thing. But just look at CGR here, guys. CGR is absolutely dominating. He's hitting the damage cap. He's breaking the damage cap. Absolutely absurd. Whereas Dr. Doom, he's not really doing too well, guys. We got hit a little bit at the end there with CGR, but you're still going to see the final combo amount there. So that's not really going to skew the results, whereas Dr. Doom is kind of on his last leg now. I mean, look at that health. That's not great. I was really panicking when I was doing this. And this was probably like my 10th run because I kept dying faster or I kept getting hit. We let a special 2 rip there just to get a final squeeze of damage. Otherwise the special 1 would have been a bit more of a waste, but yeah, we ended up getting hit by a special 2 here because we delayed and tried to do a heavy for some reason. But I mean, we're gonna die anyway to that little bit of poison damage. So yeah, you can see the difference there is quite large, and it just gets even more bigger, yeah, sure. The difference gets even larger the more amount of health that the opponent has. I'm not speaking great English right now, but you get my point. But now I hear you asking, hey Slayer, we're about 7 minutes into the video, and all you've talked about was pressing the like button and damage. To that I say, alright, let's get into some utility and stuff, but first let's talk about some damage, just to finish it off. So Dr. Doom, he can have up to 2 of these Fury buffs at a value of 5,700, whereas CGR can have an unlimited amount of them at a value of 4,200. So realistically, CGR can have 3 of these, so the ceiling for attack rating is higher, even though Doom does have a higher base attack rating. But yeah, that's kind of just the final damage comparison there. I mean, if you care about that. But yeah, let's get into some actual utility now. The way this is going to work is kind of a comparative utility, strengths, weakness type of rotation thing. This is based on this strict rotation, not the champions in general. I'm not comparing the champions, I'm comparing the rotation, okay, and how anything that equates to the rotation is going to be discussed. Now, if one character has a strength, then that might correlate to the other character's weakness, and it really depends. But I'll put these things side by side so you guys can gain kind of a full understanding of like the situations where these 2 rotations can apply differently, and just kind of give you an authentic, unbiased look at these 2 rotations respectively. Alright, so for buff control, Doom has a passive stagger on his heavy attack, which is, it comes in handy. It doesn't only stagger 1 buff. If several buffs were triggered at the same time, it staggers all of them, so that's pretty nice. It lasts 10 seconds. He has a 30% nullify on his light attacks with the aura. It's not the most reliable nullify. Power steal on light attacks as well. And light attacks also do not grant any power, so that's a nice amount of power control, along with the power steal from the first hit of this special 1. All of that basically means he has non-debuff reliant buff control. So he doesn't need to apply a debuff to control buffs, and the same for power control. So he doesn't rely on debuffs to control the opponent's power or their buffs, if that makes any sense. With this rotation as well, you can also let your special 2 rip at any time. You can just throw your special 2 with those 2 Fury buffs and just finish off the opponent, get a nice bit of damage. And the opponents also don't throw specials. If you do this rotation correctly, you will not see an opponent's special attack, which is honestly one of the most overpowered things about this rotation, is that the opponent will not throw a special. That's crazy to me. Like, that's almost Quake level kind of stuff. Now on to Cgr Strength. So he gains a special 3 in 5 hits, which honestly, that's nuts. Just the way you can set this up. He gains a special 3 in 5 hits. With that, he takes no recoil damage, so he doesn't need to launch any other specials. You can just stay strict to special 3, no recoil. He doesn't rely on combat power rate at all because all of his power gain is coming from that power gain buff. So you don't really need a high rank CGR for this rotation at all, to be honest. It's possible to only hit the opponent once while they aren't power locked to reset the rotation. So that basically means if you can get your power gain buff up quick enough, and the opponent retaliates and you can parry, you can basically hit them while Damnation's up, maybe slow your combo a bit, so just when Damnation ends, you can get that final medium attack and already have Vigilance. Then you can Dex, Heavy Charge, and then Special 3, and then guess what? You only hit the opponent once while they were not power locked, which is crazy because like they're not gaining almost any power. And then guess what? They're power locked again. And if you can keep doing that in succession, then you're granting the opponent almost no power. You're basically giving them a single medium attack's worth of power. So like they can still throw specials and stuff with this rotation, which is something I'm going to talk about. But the fact that you can give them such little power, that's crazy in of itself. I'm sorry, tangent. All right. So with that and Damnation, he has a consistent shutdown of buffs, healing, and power gain. Okay, and those are 3 different things. So he has power lock, he has heal block, and he has fate seal. It's not like Doom where you can nullify single buffs or stagger like single buffs or whatnot. Like Cgr shuts down all buffs on the opponent and prevents all buffs on the opponent from triggering at all. Whereas Doom, he might be able to nullify or stagger a few of them. Cgr, if he gets Damnation up, the opponent will not gain buffs at all while it's up. And they will not have any buffs, which is crazy. The heal block during Damnation as well is really nice. And also there's the shutdown of power gain that I already went on a crazy tangent about. Same as Doom, you can let the special 2 rip at any time. You can just throw it with 3 Furies, get a ton of armor breaks, do a ton of damage, and it's more forgiving too. Letting the special 2 rip won't kill your damage loop, whereas with Doom it will, because you let that special 2 rip, your aura's gonna expire and you're gonna lose those fury buffs. With Cgr, it's only gonna take you to a new height. And that's where you let go of some of the control of the fight, because you're not continuously damnationing them as frequently, but you're also doing a ton of damage, so you can close out fights super quick at the end there. And you can do that at any time. In ideal scenarios, which I'll explain what an ideal scenario is in a bit, he has way higher damage than Dr. Doom. Just flat out, you've already seen it, way higher, almost twice as much damage. And that's a damage cap fight that I was showing you too. We could take this to Abyss, and you'll see. Just it's nuts, okay? And yeah, potentially faster ramp up. I mentioned it earlier, I did a slower version of that rotation. I could have procced 4 other buffs and then power gain or something, and then shot up to a special 3, and then done the vigilance and the heavy and the dex, and then, you know, I could have set it up way faster. There are faster variations of it, but you will take a little bit of recoil damage because you're going to have to launch your special one. So that's Dr. Doom's and Cgr Strengths. Let's go over their weaknesses. Now, for Dr. Doom, he relies on combat power rate to reach special 3. So if your Dr. Doom isn't high ranked, or you don't have a synergy in there or something where he can, you know, get to special 3 easier without having to like reparry or rely on the opponent cooperating, which is the next one, then you're in for a really bad time. And the showcase that I was showing, it was a really ideal scenario where Dr. Doom was high ranked and he had Mojo on the team to give him more combat power rate so he could reach the special 3 consistently and not stress out. But if I was doing it without synergies, I don't know if I could do that consistently for 3 million health. Just take that into consideration. He really needs combat power rate to be high, and he really needs the AI to cooperate. Now, he's susceptible to recoil damage as well because he's throwing his special 1s so often. In longer content, like Abyss or something, you probably will die to recoil unless you do some other variation of this rotation that only throws special 3s, but like I said, we're comparing the standard versions of these rotations here. Overall, less damage than Cgr. It's just plain and simple. Letting the special 2 rip will kill the damage loop fast, because once you throw out a special 2, You know your Aura of Hazaroth is going to expire, you're going to lose your Fury buffs, and yeah, it's just way more punishing if you mess up. If you don't get the special 3 out before your Aura expires, then you just lost your 2 Fury buffs there and you gotta restart. Now with CGR, you are debuff reliant, you need that damnation up. You don't really need the armor breaks, they're not really doing too much. It's only the armor breaks from the judgment cycles, so the armor rating reduction isn't really that big as far as damage goes, and this rotation isn't really a damage rotation anyway, it's more of a control rotation. He's buff reliant as well. You want that fury buff, you want that vigilance, that you want all those buffs because that equates to your judgments. That's just how CGR is. Okay, if you can't gain buffs, that sucks. Same for Doom, honestly. I could have wrote that on Doom as well. He's also buff reliant because you want those fury buffs. Super uncooperative AI, same for Doom. If you can't get that power gain off in 6 seconds after your special 3, you're screwed. It helps if you parry the opponent, and you don't have to. Otherwise, I would have written down stun reliant as well. But if you can't get that power gain off in 6 seconds, then it messes up your rotation. Now, let's say you throw your special 3, the opponent throws their special, and they have a super long special attack. That could mess up your loop. Like, it could waste enough time for you that you won't be able to proc power gain before your judgments reset. That's why I would say bait out the opponent's specials before you get the special 3 out. Also, undexable specials, like Old Man Logan's specials are hard to dex. Like, you can not get hit by them easily, but like, they're hard to dex. It's more convenient if you're actually fighting an opponent who has specials that you can dex pretty easily. If that makes sense, I'm not saying like hard to evade or like not get hit by. I'm saying like literally dexterity, because it will help if your opponent throws a special, you dex out of it, and then wait a second for your judgments to reset, because guess what? You have that precision buff on you. Once you get rid of it, it triggers the judgment once you hit the opponent. And then you can do power gain, parry them, charge your heavy special 3 again. It's that easy. And the final weakness for CGR is that the opponent does occasionally throw special attacks. Usually it's just a special 1. If you have a power gain opponent, then you might see a special 2 every now and then, but if you're managing the rotation well, you're not really going to see that many special attacks, whereas with Doom, you're not going to see any special attacks if you do it right. But CGR just has, in my opinion, way more control, way more damage in ideal scenarios. So I kind of want to explain what ideal scenarios are. So with Doom, all you really need is enough combat power rate to do the rotation, and you need the AI to cooperate, right? You just need someone cooperative, and you can pretty much do this rotation anywhere. You do need your buffs, and you do need someone who's not stun immune. In any case, you can pretty much do the Doom rotation. It's just going to be a pretty long fight because his damage is not very great. Whereas CGR, you just need somewhere that you can gain buffs, same as Doom. You need somewhere where your damnation can apply. And that's honestly it. You know, like, you can make it work, and you can continuously just spam special 3s. And all of that control and the strengths that I mentioned earlier really just, I think, makes, for me at least, makes CGR a much better special 3 spammer than Doom. And I just enjoy CGR and Abyss content a lot more. If you've been seeing my solos where I soloed Hyperion, the champion, just spamming special 3s and then letting special 2s rip at the end, he's doing it way faster than Doom. It's pretty nuts that CGR is arguably a better nullifier than most Mystic champions, and just a better buff control, heal control, power control champion. Like, a lot of people underrate the use of damnation, and a lot of people only look at CGR for his damage, but I see him for his utility too, and all the different ways that his rotations work and all the benefits that they have. Really hope this video helped paint a better picture of CGR's viability with the special 3 spam rotation. I'm probably going to make a new guide on how to do it, because I think it's pretty relevant in Everest content and just in a lot of content in general. It's not the most practical thing to do just in your cavi queue, you know, like, you kind of just want to throw special 2s and get the fight over with quick. If you have a fight where you need a lot of control, CGR is a very good option for it as long as you can apply your debuffs and all those prerequisites I already mentioned. If this video is enlightening at all, make sure to press that like button if you haven't already. I know I mentioned it for the third time, but that's what happens when you don't have a script, which I don't right now. And yeah, I have a lot of CGR content coming out. I have several more guides that I'm working on. I have a couple more solos I'm doing. It's only been about 2 years, guys, and I'm still on the grind. Still really try to make CGR shine in ways that people don't really notice. So yeah, hope this was helpful or something. If you are wanting to disagree in the comments or like bring something else up that I didn't mention, just keep everything nice and civil and respectful. And I'll be glad to hear that out and just hear what you guys think. So yeah, do comment what you think, and yeah, if you enjoyed, like button, click the links in the description. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have an absolutely outstanding day. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and farewell.